Okay, welcome to my video. This is called The Backyard Chef. My name is Ron. I'm the Backyard Chef, and I hope you enjoy it. I made this video to help those of you out there that aren't fired up about barbecue get fired up about barbecue because it's fun. I want to show some different technique that I use. I have 3 different barbecues, and I use them all in a different way, whether it's smoking or rotisserie or just you know, adding flavor with it. And I think it's important to see that you do need different barbecues for different things. And really, I hate the gas barbecues, and I know that people out there think they're barbecuing if they have a gas grill, but you're not. And propane emits a moisture as it burns off, and it coats the food, and it really kills your ability to flavor it. So that's how I feel about propane cooking, and it's not good for you. But you can figure out how to use it. Maybe you can use a cast iron pan on it, where the food doesn't actually get, you know, absorb the propane. You can figure that out. But the charcoal way is much better. It's cheaper, and it tastes better. Okay, a couple products I like to show you that I use on all my cooking almost is real salt, and you can get this at Sprouts or what it used to be called Henry's. Kind of have to dig for it, but it has minerals in it. It's mined out of the earth. It's not coming from the sea. It's not stripped. It's not, you know, pretty table white, you know, the stuff we've all been told is salt, and salt is good for you. The minerals in here, your body needs minerals or you cannot absorb your vitamins. So if you're taking vitamins like a crazy person out there and you don't have any minerals, you're not doing anything but wasting your money. You might get a little health benefit, but not much. Also, some trace mineral drops. There is over 72 minerals in these drops, and the serving size is 40 drops, and it's too salty. It's like grinding your face against a granite mountainside is what this tastes like. But mix it into your food, put it in a smoothie somehow, get it in because you're not getting it from the food. You have to supplement it. The soils are worn out. They grow with fertilizer, where there used to be natural nutrients and minerals that would keep the plant healthy. Now it's all fertilizers and stuff, and people are getting cancer right and left. So get off of that track. And another thing is coconut oil. Replace any butter or cooking oil you can with coconut oil. Coconut oil is a superfood, and it's really good for you. It tastes much better. The food comes out amazing. I almost don't even season my food when I saute some green beans with some coconut oil. You don't even need to put anything on it, but I do add some salt for some minerals. And I'm going to show you how I incorporate that in to almost everything I cook. I have some black lava sea salt, and it's loaded with minerals too. It tastes great. And there you have it. I'll show you how we use it all. So this is my happy zone, and we've created some albacore, teriyaki pineapple albacore wrapped in bacon. I don't know how it gets any better than that. We got that, and we've got some uncured bacon. It's uncured, that's got no nitrates, and it's actually not super bad for you, no hormones, preservatives. It's the best we can do. So we're going to wrap the tuna in the bacon, so we're going to do that again. In case you didn't catch it the first time. I'm starting with the ends this time. And we're not worried about the toothpicks doing anything, catching fire, whatever. They can do whatever they do, just add flavor. Okay, so there's that. And now what I have is some Palm Island black lava sea salt, and this is basically good for you. It's not like the white table salt. It's actually good for you. It's got minerals in it. We're going to put both sides full of this action. So we're on both sides now, and now I have a sauce, and I like to steer away from sauces because there's too many chemicals, but I read the ingredients and I think it's all good. There's not there's no chemicals that you can read on the ingredients. It's dehydrated this, dehydrated that, it's fine. It's good. Just gonna add a little bit of that. It's Paradise Pineapple Teriyaki. Instead of using some stinky cooking oil or something that's gonna add nothing to it, take away from it, you're gonna put a little of this on. And there you go. The rest we're going to secure the bacon just right. And we're ready to throw on the barbecue. We're going to put it on the top shelf. And we're going to cook it low and slow for about an hour. So the coals are ready, and here's what I've got them scraped away from the back just a little bit so they're not directly heating the back rack. It's getting all ready. I'm going to put the tuna on the top shelf right there. You always need a little bit of oil on the grill if you're doing seafood of any kind, because it will stick and it will fall apart. Especially when you have the sauce on there and you have the little, you know, extra sugar or whatever burns on there. Sticks it right to the grill, so you don't want that. Put them on the back. And there we have it. So these are going to be nice and slow, cook slow. We don't want the bacon to get all fired up and burnt with the extra heat, because that'll just ruin everything. So we're going to calmly put those on the back rack. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to flip those over without knocking them off the back shelf. That's all we're going to do. And the special little secret, a little cooking secret, is to oil your spatula, because you don't want it to stick. It makes it that much easier. Okay, so that was tricky, but we did it. It's kind of like being at the fair. And let's see if we can do 2 in a row. Oh yeah, look at that. It's all beautiful, and that little purpleness is from the salt, and that is super good for you. Okay, so we're going to take them off now. They've been on here for about 45 minutes, maybe a little longer, and they're not done cooking yet, but they're looking really good. So what I like to do is to foil them really tightly, and that lets the juices disperse, because when you have the heat underneath, the juices rise, the heat, and you flip them, the juices rise. So you kind of juggle the heat and the juices. So now we want to let them all kind of, you know, calm down. We don't want to rush anything. There's some kind of internal conflict going on that we don't want to be part of. So we want to just, you know, let them work it out. Okay, so we let them sit for about 20 minutes or so, and now they're perfect and beautiful. And they've calmed down. The juices aren't going to squirt anywhere or do anything crazy like that. So I'm just going to take them out. One here. One here. And that's it. Bacon wrapped albacore. So now we're done. Look at that. Nice and flaky. Yeah, we're getting the workstation set up so we can smoke some barbecued ribs, some baby backs today. That's what we're going to work on. And so I'm just chimneying up a little bit of coals, not too many. Maybe 2 handfuls. I got my axe buried in a stump right here, so I can split some of these big chunks, make them a little smaller. You get a lot more action out of them, and you can stretch them out somewhat. Besides, they won't smoke very efficiently with a handful of coals if they are really thick. So we're going to manage those. I'm going to smoke them about 4 hours. Okay, so we're going to do some baby back ribs today. And the only thing I've done with them so far is put a lot of salt on. You want to put a lot of salt on there because it will cure the outside just a little bit and keep the moisture in as they're getting dried out on the smoker and the barbecue. And as you can see, there is enough to feed a small army right here. This is about $22 worth. And I like to do them in a way that works for me every time, always. And I don't like too many variables, and there's a lot of different ways to make ribs. And I've seen people win barbecue contests with a tin foil pack with liquid smoke steamed on a propane grill. And so there is a ton of different ways to do it and do it good. And we want to mix the mesquite and the hickory because the hickory is pretty sweet, and if you don't put a little mesquite in there, you won't even really know that they've been smoked. But if you just put mesquite on there only, then they just have this funky, almost a chemical flavor to them that is horrible. So I can't really find, you know, applewood and all that stuff without going to great lengths and spending a ton of money, so I'm just going to do it this way. And so that will get the smoker kicked up. We want to put them opposite where the smoke's coming from. So we make sure that we're not cooking them. We're just smoking them. And we might flip them over once. So they're going to be on here for about 2 hours, and we'll keep tending the wood chips and the charcoal and keep it going. So after about 2 hours, we'll flip them over. We'll adjust the little chimney thingy to kind of trap the smoke in there. Okay, now the next step is to cut up some onions. So what I've got here is about 5 onions diced up. And onions are really good for you, so we are definitely want to incorporate those into the meat. And something about pork and onions, they just go together. So what we're going to do is we're going to marinate the onions, because if we just put these in there by themselves, because we're going to bake the ribs, and I'll show you how we do that, but these will just take the flavor away. Those dilute the smokiness. So we're going to kick these up. I used to put these on the smoker, but I found it easier to just marinate them. And I have a spicy teriyaki sauce, and it's good. You know, there's no corn syrup or anything in there. Hopefully it's good. You know, sodium's not bad. So we want to get this going a few hours before they come off of the smoker, because then we're going to coat them and foil them up, and we're going to put them in the oven. So we'll see that in a few hours. When the ribs come off the smoker, they have to go right into the oven for 2 hours. So you kind of have to start them early in the morning, but it may take 12 hours or so to be done. But it's a good activity for the day. Alright, we want to tend the coals now and make sure it keeps on going. So we're going to have to add coals, and we'll shift the wood around a little bit, flatten things out. Once again, there is no other tool better than your hand. So we want to dump in a couple of fresh briquettes and just lean them up against the stuff that's already lit, and they will light too. and this will keep it going. If you let it burn out by mistake, you know, you have to get it started all over again, and that will set you back. So you don't want to do that. We don't want the big fire, so we're just going to leave it there. Let those come up and we'll put some more wood on. Alright, we're going to need some split some wood. And this is a real easy way to do it. Carefully. Right on. Don't do anything dumb, like really take a swing at it, you know, just a little bit. Some of these are a little tricky to do right here. It goes when I hit on the top, see? Blasted it all over the place. Alright. So now we'll throw those chunks on. You can shuffle them around too. Sometimes this helps make it a little more even. Put the one that was in the front and the back, or middle to the side. And we don't want it to get all cooked down here. We see this is starting to look a little extra dry, and we really don't want it extra dry. So let's flip this one around. This one too. I think the back one looks pretty good. Just gonna slide them over. And there, another 2 hours. Okay, my timer just went off. 4 hours. So these babies have been on 4 hours. Look at that. So they won't all fit in the pan this length, so I have to cut them in half. And this is the best workstation I can imagine. You can really smell it. And we're going to put these down there, and then our onions are all done. They're marinated for about the same 4 hours, and you can see they're really absorbed the teriyaki. So now we're going to put those, but I'm going to use my hands for that, so I'm going to finish cutting these up. I'm about right in half. It's about right in half. So the only way to do this right is with your hands. So we put some onions on. There we go. And we're going to sandwich these together in the teriyaki. Everything's just going to get cooked in to the meat. The smoke flavor is going to get cooked in more. The spicy teriyaki is not going to translate a whole lot, but it's better than, like I said earlier, blanding out your flavors by just putting a lot of onions in there. But the onions make the meat tender. So we definitely want the onions. We want them all baked into the meat. And that adds a moisture too, that when the onions start to cook down, that they steam. And that's probably the most important thing, is it really gets moisture, steaming. And we just take advantage of the onions the way they are and marinate them, season them up. And that makes it even better. So let's get rid of all of this. Okay, there's that, and I'll foil it over the top real tight, and I'll put it in the oven. I'm at about 380 on the oven for another 2 hours. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to whip up a baste, and I'm thinking a honey mustard. Simple. We don't want to, put barbecue sauce on it. We don't need that. So I've yet to find a barbecue sauce that I don't eat 2 times and already hate. So, all right. A little mustard, some soy sauce. We don't want it really thick. We've got some honey. Just some local honey. Not going to find this in a grocery store. Okay, you don't need a lot of that. And we're not going to go crazy with the amount, and so we're going to add some cayenne also. And that'll give it a little kick, just in case some of the spicy teriyaki that we put on earlier is kind of, calm down with all the smoky flavor. So we'll take our basting brush and just whip this up. And that's nothing special, that's just something to mop on near the end, really near the end. And I'm not going to make any more than that, it's just a little bit, just in case it's dry on the outside in the barbecue. That's it. Simple enough. Okay, so we got the big barbecue fired up again, and we are not using very many coals, and it's still really hot. It's gonna work great. And we want, it's a timing thing for me. I want to put it on there, I want to walk away a little bit, so if it's too hot, it's just gonna go crazy. So these were in the oven for 2.5 hours. We kind of increased the cook time. And so these onions really are no good to anything, they're just gonna burn. They've been cooked in. So we're gonna scrape those off, and hopefully we can get this out of here without completely falling apart on us. Okay, carefully. Alright, so it is gonna fall apart. Let's take it a little slower. If you get right under the middle, you can take them off without breaking them. And they're perfectly done right now. We're just going to barbecue them. We're going to baste them a little bit so we can add a coating to them that's going to kick up the flavor just a bit. And I've tried before to save these onions and put them in other dishes, and there's no flavor in them. They're cooked out, and there's a lot of fat from the ribs that we're just gonna leave it there. A little tricky with one hand, but we did it. This juice here, you know how that works best? Put that on the dog's dish, on the dog's hard food, and watch how they go crazy. So we're gonna let them cook for a little bit, and we'll come back, we'll flip them over maybe once, get them really hot, and then we'll start basting them. A couple of flips, and they'll be done. Okay, so there you have it, barbecued ribs my way. Smoked on the barbecue, well, the smoker for 4 hours, and then baked for about 2.5 hours with the onions and the teriyaki, and then we put it on the barbecue one more time, and we baste it a little bit just to give it that last little bit of crust, and we kicked up the baste with cayenne, so we're baked in spicy, and we're a little spicy on the outside. I don't think it's going to be too much to handle. And like always, we're going to take it off of here, we're going to foil them up, we're going to stack them back again, we're going to foil them up real tight, and we're going to let them sit for probably another hour, all encased in in their own selves, they're going to be stacked up tight, and the heat's going to take a while. It's going to finish cooking that way, and the moisture is just going to disperse evenly. And I think that's one of the most important things after you've cooked all day long, is that you rest it and it can steam itself. And there you go.